going into this thing, we survived the AFC Championship game if you're Mahomes, and it's like we survived the Jaguars second half if you're Mahomes with that ankle. But, like, this Eagles team is coming, and they are healthy, and that defensive line just put a beating on the 49ers. And you could say, well, that was Purdy's first drive. Look, Purdy didn't hurt himself going back and twisting his knee. Purdy didn't hurt himself handing the ball off and having some crazy accident. Purdy hurt himself because the guy blew by the protection and knocked him in the elbow and knocked him out of the game. If you're Mahomes, I'm curious, how are you going to be? All these other guys who went down and couldn't finish the game, what version of Mahomes are we going to get? Is he back 100%? Is he back 90%? Is he back 80%? Because honestly, with this Chiefs team and what they've accomplished, I don't know if it's enough to get to another Super Bowl. I think they want to win this whole thing, and we know that. I think they almost have to win this whole thing. If we're talking about legacies and the history of sport, like I did this a couple of weeks ago, came on here before the Jaguars game. I said, Steelers were the 70s, Niners were the 80s, Cowboys were the 90s, Patriots were the early 2000s, Patriots were the 2010s. The Chiefs, you win these two, you already, you have a good lead into being the team of the 2020s. A whole generation of kids saw you play in 5 straight AFC Championship games at home. Whole generation of kids saw you win multiple Super Bowls. Whole generation of kids saw you play in 3. And to me, you lose this one, well, the Seahawks were really good in the mid-2010s. The Eagles were really good in the early 2000s. The Rams were really good in the 90s. They obviously had the, very short. Those are one-win teams. Go win that second, you go from great to all-time teams. And I know that's being very dramatic, and I'll probably hit that drum a few times over the next few weeks or the next 10 days. But to me, it's like Mahomes hurt. None of these guys available right now. Does he have another trick in the bag, another rabbit in the hat? I'm fascinated to see what version of Mahomes we get. And I don't even know if it matters who's around him. He was making big plays to Marcus Kemp and to Valdez-Scantling, and of course, guys that weren't expected, Noah Gray and the others, when it needed him most. So to me, it's Mahomes, and can they get that second chip?
Yeah, nothing tougher than being a one-hit wonder, right?
They're not a one-hit wonder.
I hear you.
This is not a team that went, right said Fred, is that the reference?
But there's a difference.
I'm too sexy, is that what you went with?
Yeah, that was it. You won one.
Peter wants to make sure he checks his references with Sean O'Hara.
Flopped a little bit. Look, I've got a lot of concerns about this game and things that are going on. My number one concern right now, I'll get back to the Mahomes stuff. Yeah. My number one concern right now is for Donna Kelce. What are you going to do? The mother of Jason and Travis Kelce, right? First time this has ever happened in the NFL. 2 brothers going against each other. 2 sons playing against each other. What is she going to do? Is she going to sympathize? Or is she going to celebrate? After the game, who are you going with? That's my biggest concern for the aftermath of the game. But during the game, I'm with you on this Mahomes mobility thing. I think the biggest concern is this Eagles pass rush. Can this Chiefs offensive line protect Patrick Mahomes? Now, this Eagles pass rush, we all know about Hassan Reddick and Fletcher Cox, Javon Hargrave, Sweat. Look, they're trying to get after Patrick Mahomes. The last time we saw him in a Super Bowl not have good protection, it was an L. It was against the Bucs. And, he was doing everything he could, but he was running away from the defense every single play. He was running for his life. He made a throw where he was literally horizontal, and, everybody was oohing and on. But this is what we saw the last time he lost the Super Bowl. He's running for his life. Now, why is this important? And look, I'm not saying that the Chiefs' offensive line is not good. That's not what it is. This Eagles pass rush is coming. To your point, they're getting after it. It was a no contest against the 49ers. It was a TKO in the second round. The Giants, Daniel Jones was running for his life. There's the throw, the horizontal throw I was talking about. Here's why this is important, though, for Patrick Mahomes and for his mobility and that ankle. And that's why everybody's got to be focused on this ankle. Can he move? Nobody threw more passes or threw for more yards or more touchdowns outside the pocket last year than Patrick Mahomes. So as much as we think about Patrick Mahomes as, man, he is so gifted in the pocket. Look at the way he throws. He's got every arm angle. This dude does more damage outside the pocket than any quarterback in the league. So it's that ankle, and can he run, and can he do all that stuff? Here's the graphic. I'm sorry, I'm trying to button this thing up here, but I got to point to this. Look at this is the last 5 years right here, Patrick Mahomes. Look at what he's done in the pocket on the left. 683 passes, completions about 58 touchdowns. That's in the pocket on the left, 58 touchdowns. 59 touchdowns outside the pocket. So he's just as productive outside the pocket as he is inside the pocket. That's why that ankle mobility is going to be huge.
Yeah, it's incredible to see what he's able to do. Like, he's a guy who's a dual threat and defines it. I can do damage inside or outside the pocket. And, of course, Mahomes, his health, but now he has multiple days, 2 weeks to get ready for this Super Bowl. I'm more concerned about the supporting cast than I am Mahomes. Going into the AFC Championship game, I was like, I don't know. Like, Mahomes' ankle, is he going to be able to move around and do the things necessary? And then he goes out there, shows the Mahomes magic, and finds a way to get it done. Guys like MVS stepping up, going over 100 yards, scoring a touchdown in that game. We know he came over from the Green Bay Packers, and all season long, it's been that. Who's going to step up for this Kansas City Chiefs team? We already know Travis Kelce, week in and week out, he's going to be there. Throughout the season, they get Kadarius Toney. He steps up. He makes some plays. We saw Noah Gray make a huge catch against the Tennessee Titans to help them win that game. So it's been the supporting cast that have stepped up week in and week out. Now we're going into the Super Bowl, the biggest game of the season. I look at guys like Isaiah Pacheco, Pop, guys like Jerick McKinnon, the running back room for them. Those are two guys that I feel like can step up in a game like this and be surprise MVP-type candidates. A guy like Pacheco, he brings a different element to this offense. Every time he touches the ball, it's electric. He gets up fast. He throws the ball to the referee fast. He sprints back to the huddle. It's like that rookie energy. He's coming into a team that so many guys have won, have been to the Super Bowl. He's the new guy, just fired up to be there. 7th-round pick, excited, his journey and everything. One of these two guys I look at when this game is all over could be standing on that podium, and we could be talking about Isaiah Pacheco, Pop, as the MVP of the Super Bowl.
That would be really cool, really special for him. The X's and O's, I think, are like high class in this game. These are really, really talented teams. But the Super Bowl, the guy who wins the Super Bowl, the quarterback, the Super Bowl winning team, let's say, like the cultural impact on that person in particular, like changes the trajectory of their career. You guys know Issa Rae, the comedian and the producer, whatever, and then Zendaya is like this generational talent. There was this interview I saw recently between Issa Rae and Zendaya, and the clip is great. Issa Rae asked Zendaya, how hard is it for you every day to wake up and just feel like, wow, these other people aren't even close? Because Zendaya is like that. I feel like we're teetering on Jalen Hurts. If he wins a Super Bowl, this guy is going to go to the moon. Unbelievable talent on the football field for Jalen Hurts. But his marketability, his cool factor that we have all been seeing, we've been seeing it grow this season. The wins are great. The talent is great. This team is unbelievable. But I think his personality, his marketability within Philadelphia and how this could play nationally for this guy, if he wins a Super Bowl, the sky is the limit for Jalen Hurts. We see it with Patrick Mahomes, the aftermath of winning a Super Bowl, the national commercials, the big insurance companies, the this or that. I am concerned about if Jalen Hurts wins a Super Bowl, I'm kind of concerned about everybody else in the league because, like, this guy's star power is just going to skyrocket. I know it's kind of a facetious answer, but I just wanted to put that out there because, like,
Issa Rae and Zendaya, it was perfect.
Issa Rae and Zendaya, like, how hard is it for you to wake up? Well, these other girls aren't even close. It's true. It's a valid question from Issa Rae. Kyle, what do you think about this matchup? What has you losing sleep, which is not hard to do in Las Vegas?
Yeah, I can't sleep at all. My concern, principally and first and foremost, I'm concerned that not enough people know that Jason Kelce and Travis Kelce are brothers. We need to get into this because they are, in fact, brothers. And, Sean, I joined the groups of people here in Las Vegas throwing up over balconies, hearing you start the show talking about Donna Kelce. No, Issa Rae and Zendaya. Let's talk about Donna Kelce. Donna Kelce, a woman who has to go through the torture this next weekend. Which one of my universally beloved, wildly charismatic, talented, multimillionaire sons will win this game? Both of my sons have already won a Super Bowl. Who will get a second one? Guys, we have talked more about Donna Kelce going into this game than Nick Sirianni, Andy Reid, Frank Clark, Chris Jones, Lane Johnson. We can go and go and go. They're brothers. It's not like when we were kids and it would be like Deion Sanders and Barry Sanders. Are they related? No, they're actually brothers. And if you think I'm sick of it, you want to hear it from me? You know who else is sick of the Kelce brothers Super Bowl? The Kelce brothers. Yesterday, let me quote from their podcast, Travis Kelce, if the world hasn't fed you this bleep already, let me tell you about it. Jason Kelce, if you're not tired of it yet, which we are, we're going to talk about the Kelce Bowl. I kind of don't like that we're calling it the Kelce Bowl. There are major organizations involved. We're going to get asked this question nonstop from here to the end of the game, and I'm already over it. There are unbelievable storylines in this Super Bowl. That's the actual Kelce brothers. So I'm concerned that people don't know about it. If you're watching this show, the Kelces are brothers. They're playing in the same game. They have a mother. Her name is Donna, and she's going through this existential crisis about which of her wonderful sons is going to win. I want people to know about that, and if you're watching, now you do. It's important stuff.
Thank you, Kyle. Yeah, if that is what you haven't known until this show, then my concern is you've run out of food in your bunker and you are coming out from underneath your basement and your bomb shelter, and here you are, and now you are learning for the first time ever that they are brothers. And
Kyle does make a great point. They both have one already.
Brothers.
Does that make it brothers?
Yeah. I mean, like, they've won.
All right.